So welcome, and yeah, I've been really playing around with this idea of what do we really need to survive since this time it's been really different than anything we've ever lived with the pandemic, with everything that's been going on. And so, um, of course, the natural things that the human body needs, right, is air, there's food, shelter, right? These are just human needs, things that we need to survive in, as far as our body, right? Water, air, shelter. But then what do we really need to thrive? And that's really what was most important to me. Like, how do we thrive as human beings? And the more I read about it, the more I find that in order for us to thrive, we do need a sense of community. And this is what brought me to just being so grateful of Zoom during these times, and to everything that we're offered, you know, that we can actually tune into each other in this way and have a sense of community, of being together here in this space. And so a sense of community, a sense of purpose. We'll be talking about purpose on Monday. So really a sense of purpose. What are we doing here seems to be like the question that always rises when we start our practices of contemplating what this world is about, what we're about. So so really that's another thing, the sense of purpose. And then something that's really interesting that is getting a lot of research and a lot of attention is that humans need touch. So humans need touch to survive. and and this could be really hard right now. We're isolated and we don't get to hug each other, and even if we see each other, we're far away from each other. And so these are things that are really interesting to really keep in mind, um, that could help us really in life if we pay attention to them. So community is very important, of course, because we are social beings. We are designed to rely on others to survive, right? Since we're babies, a human baby cannot survive on their own. So now with the importance of touch, another thing that's coming up is that now, babies are allowed to kind of really rest on the mother's chest, their chest, when they're born, because it does help with their brain stimulating, allows them to feel more secure, and allows them to thrive in this way. So this is really important, something that we didn't know many years ago, right? That babies were taken away right away. So as I was reading that, for instance, some research at UC Berkeley, um, in public health, found that even getting eye contact or a pat in the back by your doctor can really be helpful. And it was showing this, that the survival rate on people who had really complex diseases was helped incredibly. But just eye contact and that pat in the shoulder by a doctor. So this is proving more and more to be very important. Now, there's some things that we want to keep in mind as we talk about this, because we are, again, in a situation that we don't get really very much touch from others, very much, the warm hug, the pat in the shoulder right now is not even something that we can do. We have to maintain distance. Um, but since we can't really do very much of that, I'd like to share with you a little bit of the work of Christine Neff, which is a researcher that some of us might already know. She's an author, she's a researcher of mindfulness, self-compassion. And she has a variety of ways to incorporate touch into our lives for self-compassion, self-soothing. And there's research that backs all this up on the internet if you would like to read a little more about it. But there are some gestures that we can do. And so before we go into our practice today, I wanted to share this because I think it's really important for us to know how to soothe ourselves, how to bring this sense of self-compassion, of caring. And so one of the things that she says is, placing a hand on the chest. Now, a lot of the times, these might not seem right for you. This might seem like, I don't know about all this. And so you can find what works for you. Sometimes it could be, if you are, of a strong character, and maybe placing a hand on the chest just kind of doesn't seem like the right thing for you. Also, you can make a fist, hold the fist together, right? There's strength on that. But as long as you're making physical contact, this can be really helpful. So whether it is the hand on the chest, another thing that works as well is maybe touching the face. There's a lot of research on really just putting your hands on the face, or maybe even putting one hand on the face. And we can even try it really if we just pause really quick and just kind of take a couple of breaths. If it feels right for you. If it doesn't, you can hold your hands, but just allowing for maybe the coolness of the hands to get felt, the warmth. And just for a moment, just allow it to just kind of stay there. If putting both hands on your face doesn't work, this is something that really works for me. So it's one of my favorites. If it's not both hands, I might just do one. When I'm overwhelmed, I might just do one hand, kind of resting my hand. Kids tend to do this a lot in school, right? They kind of rest their face on their hand. Um, so even maybe just feeling the skin, and you can try this for you men, after shaving in the mornings, right? You put your lotion on, you can always try that. For women, it's a little more difficult because we don't shave in the morning. But for men, this could be a good thing to kind of just try. And this right away, so research shows that it really regulates the parasympathetic nervous system. So we're talking about science here more than just this little thing of placing the hand up. And Christine Neff has a lot of research about it. But what happens a lot of the times when we do this is we're activating this very large nerve called the trigeminal nerve. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Trigeminal nerve, I think is what it is one of the largest nerves, and is connected to the vagus nerve as well. And these both nerves help regulate the nervous system. So really important for us to kind of get in touch with these things now that we're alone at home. So both of these things can help us regulate our parasympathetic nervous system, and our sympathetic nervous system, which is how we really get that stress response, the flight, fight, and freeze, right? So doing these little things could be really helpful. And I wanted to share this with you before we go into our practice, because on Fridays, as you know, we spend a little bit of time in the body, because the body is one of the foundations of mindfulness. So really tuning into the body, and this can be really daunting for some of us. It could be scary to come to the body because there's so much sensation. It could be overwhelming. So I wanted to give you just a couple of things like this. And if at any moment you notice that there's a part of the body that might be a little bit, you might be a little resistant a little bit, or maybe emotions come up, you can try some of these things. Of course, you can always open your eyes. You can always stand or shift or move around. And so as we do this, maybe just tuning into the body. So just starting with that, just tuning into the body right now, just sitting or lying down. And just noticing, paying attention to those areas of contact of the body with the chair, the seat, the cushion. And noticing maybe whether there's warmth in this area or coolness. And if your feet are on the ground, noticing the feet on the ground. And if your eyes are open, maybe just lowering the gaze. Finding a spot on the floor if that's okay. You don't always have to close your eyes. You can leave them open as well. But as long as you're not distracted. So just allowing for the body to really gently, really safely sink into the surface that's holding you. Maybe taking in a deep breath. And on a long exhale, Just allowing the body to rest here safely, fully supported, sinking into the surface. You might notice the body breathing as you do this without changing the breath, without modifying it, but just noticing how the body is breathing right now. This is a new moment. How is the body breathing in this brand new moment? And if you notice the need to control, the need to change the breath in any way, seeing if you can just let go of that urge, just observing the body breathing here. And if the breath is not available, then just noticing the position of the body, the sensation on the hands or the feet. And just for a moment, just allow yourself to rest here in the body. Releasing the jaw, dropping the shoulders if that's appropriate right now, if that feels okay. And noticing if there is any other unnecessary tension or tightness here that might want to be let go right now. Settling into the moment in this way. Holding your attention with kindness, holding the body with warmth, softening around any tightness or tension. And maybe there's a lot in the mind right now. That's okay. It's understandable. This is what the mind does. It's bringing a sense of kindness to the moment. And in this kind way, we're escorting the attention again and again towards the breath, towards the palms of the hands or the feet. knowing that you're welcome here, welcoming yourself to the moment. And allowing for the warmth of this community to fill your heart right now, the sense of kindness towards one another as we all come together in our practice in one place, one community in this way. A sense of togetherness, embracing each and every one of us in this way. And now noticing where you might feel the breath the most in the body. Maybe the belly, maybe the chest. Or whenever you're ready, bringing your attention to the bottom of your feet, or the area of the feet that might be in contact with the floor. Noticing any sensation here at the feet. Maybe there's warmth, moisture, tingling, or numbness. Maybe nothing at all, and that's okay too. We're often looking for the big sensations, the big moments. And there could be very subtle things that are present here that we might not notice, such as even just your feet touching the ground, connecting to the earth underneath. Allowing this energy from the body to flow right into the earth. By whichever part of your feet might be in contact with the surface. And now moving your attention to your legs, the legs area of the body. Noticing the lower leg and the knees, the inner legs, the thighs, and really noticing here those areas that might be in contact with the surface holding you. Really allowing for the attention to rest here just for a moment. Bringing a sense of kindness and warmth towards the mind every time he wanders, every time he presents you with an image, a thought, words, every time he compares, every time he judges. I like to sometimes think of it as an unruly child that just doesn't know. And so every time with a lot of kindness, we kind of bring the attention right back. We escort it back to the legs or the feet, the body. But if you're with me, just settle in here on the legs. And if anything becomes too overwhelming at this moment, maybe unpleasant sensations on the legs, maybe unpleasant emotions, if at any moment this become too much, exercising that bit of compassion. You can exercise your gesture in this moment, just practice with it. And it could be as simple as holding your hands together, feeling the skin, feeling the warmth, knowing that you have that at any time and that you can always rely on yourself. So whenever you're ready, maybe taking in a deep breath and on a long, long exhale, letting go of this area of the body and shifting your attention to the pelvic area, to the bottom, maybe in contact with the chair or the seat, the cushion. Noticing any sensation here. Sometimes the bladder can be full. Maybe sensation like that might be present. The tailbone and the lower back, areas where we sometimes feel so much. Kind of escorting our attention back again in this way without us even knowing. Sometimes the mind tends to want to skip areas that are not so comfortable. So that happens, just noticing that. Again, exercising kindness towards yourself in this moment. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath together. Filling up those lungs, filling up that belly. And now at the same time, exhaling long, connecting in this breath, connecting with one another as the air goes right into the world in this way. And so now moving your attention to the abdomen, noticing what's present here in this area. Maybe you can feel the breath here as the abdomen kind of expands on the in-breath and contracts on the out-breath. And then another long inhale, deep inhale. And now long, long exhale. Emptying up the belly, emptying up those lungs. And moving your attention to the chest area. This area that holds the lungs, the heart. Knowing if at any moment something becomes overwhelming, a sensation that might be too much for this moment. Remembering soothing touch, remembering you can open your eyes. You can shift your pose. You can breathe through it if that's okay. Just the act of noticing it is healing. And you might even say, like, you're here again. That's okay. It'll pass. If you're with us, maybe tuning into your heartbeat, if that's here right now for you to tune into. If it's accessible, and if not, then that's okay. You can also tune into the back area if it's in contact with the surface holding you. The spine, the skin in contact with the clothing, the muscle here, even the bone. And now taking in another deep breath. And on a long, long exhale, just letting go of this area, coming up to the shoulders. Noticing what's in the shoulders right now. Are you able to drop the shoulders, or maybe they're tight and tense? And if there's nothing to soften around right now, the shoulders feel relaxed at this moment. And just acknowledging that, but if there's any tension that just doesn't want to be let go right now, you can just allow it to stay. That's okay. You know that it will change. It's our only constant, change. There's one thing that we can always be certain about, is that things won't stay like this forever. And now noticing your hands, maybe the palms of the hands. And maybe as an act of self-soothing, you're holding your hands together. Be feeling through that. Maybe your hands are on a fist. Maybe just feeling through that too. Fingers folded. Power and strength even in this soothing gesture. Now moving your attention up the arms, the lower arms and the elbows, the upper part of the arms. The arms sometimes are in contact with the body. And so maybe if yours are in contact with the body right now, just noticing what it feels like. Is there warmth? Is there coolness? And instead of this being a mental process, really tuning into the felt sensation. Curiosity. What does coolness feel like? What is warmth? What does it feel like? Experiencing the moment with beginner's mind. And back of the shoulders again. Every time we practice line our attention in any body part, we're also practicing letting go. Some things might feel better than others, but we still move on, accepting every part exactly as it feels, tuning into the sensory experience. So now taking in a deep breath once again with me. And again on a long exhale, allowing the body to just soften around any tension, any tightness, letting go. There's nothing to hold on to right now. Tuning into the neck, the throat, and then coming up to the chin and the jaw. Is there any clenching, tightness on the teeth? And can we soften around that if there is any? Even allowing the mouth to just open just a little bit. Letting go of any tension to keep the mouth in any way. Now noticing the cheeks and the muscle around the mouth. Softening around the face. The area around the eyes, the forehead. And you might even be able to feel the breath right here, the nostrils, the nose, the upper lip, the cooling of the air coming in, the warmth of the air going out into the world. And now coming up to the side of the head, so the right side, the right ear. Noticing how some areas feel a lot more than others. Maybe if your hair is long, you can feel the hair brushing against the ears. If not, maybe you can feel the breeze. Maybe nothing at all. That's okay too. We're not making anything happen. We're accepting the moment exactly as it is. And so now tuning into the left ear. Very gently. Coming up to the back of the head, the top of the head, the crown of the head. And now taking in a deep breath with me again. And on a long exhale, just becoming aware of the entire body all the way from the top of the head to the tips of the toes. Feeling in the breath traveling to every little part of the body. soothing, softening breath, oxygenating the body in this way. And I'm noticing all sensations now, everywhere in the body. Tara Brach says, clearly recognizing what is happening inside us and regarding what we see with an open, kind, and loving heart is what I call radical acceptance. She says, if we're holding back from any part of our experience, if our heart shuts out any part of who we are and what we feel, we're fueling the fears and feelings of separation that sustain the trance of unworthiness. She says radical acceptance directly dismantles the very foundations of this trance of unworthiness. So as you tune into this body here that allows you to go to places, allows you to navigate life, and noticing what's here for you at this moment. And whatever it might be, seeing if we can bring a sense of kindness and acceptance by just noticing it. There's no much we have to do, it's already here. So whether it's joy, gratitude, happiness, or anything else, it is all welcome here. And Thich Nhat Hanh offers some words of kindness and love towards ourselves. And you might, if this feels okay to you, maybe you can repeat this in your own mind. If not, then you can just listen to the words. So he says, may I be peaceful, happy, and light in body and spirit. May I be safe and free from injury. May I be free from anger, afflictions, fear, and anxiety. May I learn to look at myself with the eyes of understanding and love. And maybe while I read this, if it feels okay to you to practice your gesture, then you're welcome to do that. And if not, you can just listen. So whether that's placing a hand on the chest, soft touch of both hands, touching the face, whatever works for you, or just listening. He says, may I learn to identify and see the sources of anger, craving, and delusion in myself. May I learn to recognize and touch the seeds of joy and happiness in myself. May I know how to nourish the seeds of joy in myself every day. May I be able to live fresh, solid, and free. May I be free from attachment, aversion, but not indifferent. He says, love is not just the intention to love, but the capacity to reduce suffering. So we're not talking about romantic love or the fantasized idea of I love you all the time, but really the capacity that we all have to reduce our own suffering. And by suffering, I mean our worries, our anxieties, everything that takes away from our joy. So he says, love is not just the intention to love, but the capacity to reduce suffering and offer peace and happiness. The practice of love increases our forbearance, our capacity to be patient and embrace difficulties and pain. Forbearance does not mean that we try to suppress pain. So maybe just taking a moment with yourself here, bringing in a sense of gratitude. Gratitude towards yourself for giving yourself this moment. The biggest act of love to sit in this way, not just by yourself, but with one another as well. So allowing the sense of gratitude to grow big in the body, in the mind, in the heart.